So we're super excited that you're with us and looking forward to helping you really make the most of Christmas when it comes to leveraging social media. So Jason Day, I'm here along with Marisa Williams, who's our social media expert here at Outreach. And we just want to kind of walk you through a handful of things. Before we jump into those five tips, we want to lay down some basic groundwork, some things that you really want to focus in on as you're starting and looking at what do we need kind of baseline for our social media. And so the very first thing you want to consider is first impressions. Now, most of you probably realize that social media today is sort of what a church website was like a decade ago, in that when people would be looking to find a church or find some Christmas events or ministry events or whatever it might be, they're going to go and search online. And so before, they used to find your website, and now your social media is popping up. And so whenever they search, they're not only going to see your website, but they're also going to see Facebook, Instagram, other social media networks that you're on. And most people now are looking beyond the website and are looking at what's going on your social channels, because this gives them a good feel as to who you are as a church, right? So this is key and very, very important. So first impressions are absolutely important. So on Facebook, you want to have a good cover photo. We have a great example here from New Life Church here in Colorado Springs. They have a great cover photo. It gives people immediately just a feel for the church. There are people at the church featured there. It has information on the different congregations, the times that they meet, gives them opportunity to go and watch live. I mean, it's all right there. Very, very cool. Your profile picture is important as well. You want to have a clear profile image. You want to make sure that it is sized properly. There's so many times that when we're working with churches, we pop onto their social media channels. They have a profile pic. It might be the logo of the church or something, but it's sized improperly. And so part of it's cropped off. You can't really read what it is, and it just doesn't give a good solid first impression. So with Facebook, with Instagram, any of your other social media channels, you want to make sure you have a good profile pic. With Facebook, you want to go through and really complete the information that you can post there. So there are all different types of things in kind of the about that you can put. And so you want to fill out as much as absolutely possible, because Facebook rewards you the more thorough your profile is. So answer as many of those questions as possible. Keep it updated. And then Instagram, you have an opportunity to put a description. Make sure you put in that description. You might want to put something that's kind of a call to action. So, as Harvest Christian Fellowship here, they have, join us on Sunday at 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. So they took that space to let them know, hey, we have 2 worship gatherings every Sunday. And then, of course, they have the link to their website. So you can include a link, one URL there in your description. So first impressions are important. Make sure everything's cleaned up, especially as you're really trying to leverage social media. You want to make sure that when people pop onto your social channels, it's clean, it makes sense, the information's thorough, and that's just very, very important. So make sure you take some time to do that now before a bunch of people are jumping on during the Christmas season.
Great, Jason. That's all great information. The next thing we'll be talking about is the Facebook algorithm, just kind of basics. It's really complicated and it changes constantly. We've had a ton of changes in the past month or two. So the algorithm basically, long story short, is how Facebook selects what posts get viewed and who gets to view which posts. What Facebook loves of the algorithm and what posts get rewarded, as Jason says, and get shown to more of an audience are high engagement posts. So posts that have lots of likes, comments, shares, those get seen the most. Then posts that are interacted with often, which are church goals for you guys. You want people to constantly and consistently interact with your page and your posts, not just one every in a blue moon, because Facebook's going to see, oh, that was just a one-hit wonder post, versus having a consistent high engagement post, which means most of your posts will get shown then. And consistency, again, posting often. Facebook, if you only post once a week, Facebook will knock you down. Pages are supposed to be posting at least 2 times a day, depending on the size of your page, which means how many likes you have on your page. But I recommend for churches twice a day. If possible, I know it's hard to find content for, but we're going to give you some ideas for that. And video, uploaded versus shared from a site. So this is kind of a secret tip is Facebook, if you share a video from YouTube, Facebook's going to knock that down lower versus if you just share a video from your iPhone and you upload that to Facebook, Facebook's going to share that more. The rule for Facebook, the name of the game is Facebook loves Facebook. Anything that comes from Facebook, anything that's shown from Facebook, that's what Facebook loves. So don't share from competitor sites, don't share links, that type of thing. Facebook loves if you share your own videos from their upload. Some insider tips for engagement. So these are kind of interesting. So if you comment inside the tips and someone tags a name, someone tags someone else, if I tag Jason in Outreach's Facebook post, Facebook sees that people like that and want to share that content. So those posts that you see go viral and you're like, why did this silly post go viral? It's because people started tagging each other and Facebook read off of that and it started showing it more. And Facebook, again, the video upload, that's key. So an iPhone video, what's neat about Facebook and social media in general is authenticity is great these days. It doesn't have to be professional. It can just be an iPhone video of the pastor inviting his congregation to church this Sunday, a quick minute, or hey, here's a recap of this Sunday's service. Those videos actually get high engagement and Facebook rewards those and sends them to the front of the line versus sharing a YouTube video about a message that you guys like. So those are a few insider tips. And the Instagram algorithm is complicated too. It's similar to Facebook's, but there's a little bit of differences. Again, it's how Instagram selects what posts get viewed and who gets to view which posts. Instagram is a very interesting algorithm to me because it's all off pictures. So how does Facebook or Instagram and Facebook know what pictures you like and what type of content you like there and how to be able to gauge that? So it's pretty interesting. So how Instagram catches that is relevancy. What's relevant type of content, background type of post you like? So if you're a CrossFit junkie, if you go to the search part of Facebook or search part of Instagram, all you'll see is CrossFit, those type of things of similar people that you follow. And engagement, just like Facebook, high engagement, you're going to see that at the top of your Instagram feed. And relationships, so people you've interacted with several times before, which is similar to Facebook. So you probably have your 5 favorite people, you always like their posts or search for their profiles that you look at their content. Facebook's going to show you those first because they want to show you, or Instagram's going to show you that first, show you what matters most to you. And then time spent on the post. So Instagram keeps track of how long you've spent looking at that post. And that's what they keep track of. So if you spend a lot of time looking at Jason's post, then obviously Jason is a social media legend. You'll see it on there. They gauge that. So if they know I spent a lot of time looking at Jason's post, they'll put that to the top of the newsfeed as well. So that's a little bit of basics of the algorithm. And now we'll get started into the 5 tips.
Awesome stuff, Marisa. And it's really important, that whole algorithm thing, it's one of those things, as Marisa was saying, it changes constantly, and they don't publish their algorithms, incidentally. So there's no way that you can just go and look up and say, oh, these are the best ways to get engagement. Really, this is done because we do a lot of study and we're connected with a lot of people in the social media world, and we kind of learn from one another as to what is working and what is no longer working. And so this is one of the things that we really try to provide value to churches, because we know that you do not all have time to sit around and try to figure out what's going on with Facebook's algorithm or Instagram's algorithm or what changes are taking place. And so we try to do that for you and give you that information as we can through these webinars and through other resources that we have. So we're here for you to help you get higher engagement, increase that relevancy, and really leverage social media. So covered the basics. There are 5 ways to win at social media this Christmas. And the first one really kind of piggybacks on what Marisa was talking about, these algorithms. So the tip number 1, this is the one thing that you really want to do, is you need to get active, right? Social media is all about relationships. It's not just blasting stuff out there. It's about building relationships. So if you are not putting in time, energy, and effort, then guess what? You're you're not going to have interaction. You're not going to have engagement. You're going to just be kind of shouting out into nothingness, right? So people aren't going to see your posts if there aren't relationships that are being built, if there's not engagement, if there's not this type of interactivity. So it's very important to understand that. So frequency matters. The frequency of your posts is very, very important. If you just post, a lot of churches will jump onto their Facebook pages. We're working with churches and helping them. We'll look at their Facebook page now, and the last post they might have had was from Vacation Bible School over the summer. That's not really a good thing, right? Because it's very infrequent. So if you're posting infrequently, Facebook doesn't really reward that. No social networks really reward that. They want people to be actively engaged. So they want you to be posting regularly, frequently, consistently. So that's very, very important. The other thing is that you want to look at posting high engagement posts, things that are going to encourage people to jump in and get engaged, that kind of dusts off the cobwebs and keeps everything fresh on your pages in your social feeds. So it's very, very important that you are being consistent, that you're keeping things fresh, that you're building those relationships. So you want to build your relationships. You want to develop this so that you'll always be relevant, so that throughout the year, whatever it is that your church is doing, it can be something around the holidays, around Christmas that we're talking about now, but then whatever you're doing, at the new year, whatever you're doing in February, March, April, around Easter, whatever you're doing in the community, if you're doing community outreach or serving your community in some way, whatever you're doing, the more consistent, the more the relationships are developed, the more engagement, the better off it'll be. So people come and look at your feeds, they're going to see this is a church that's doing something. This is a church that's active. This is a church that is, alive. And that's really what we want people to see. We want people to see that, we could have great things going on, in our church, within our walls and out in the community. But if we're not sharing that across our social networks, people have no idea, right? They don't know. So let's think about some ways that we can have some content. And I know one of the big questions is people are like, well, what should we post? We don't even know what to post. So here's some great ideas for you to think about, to post and to share, to give you just kind of some regular content that you can be thinking about. One is recognizing your volunteers. This is huge, right? There's a good example here from Thrive Church, great church doing great stuff on social. Volunteer of the week, just a quick photo, snap, and just share some information about here Kevin and how he serves the church and how he volunteers. That's simple, that's easy. Bam, right there, you've got one post a week taken care of, right? You just have someone on your team who just appreciates and recognizes the volunteers, snap that photo on a Sunday, and you're good to go. Other ideas, promote your events, right? So different things going on. Again, here's a hot cocoa bar this Sunday, just a cool little image posted up there saying, hey, this is what's happening. So you can think of any little things that are going on in your church that would be of interest to people, that would help people understand who you are better, and just make a simple post about that. Pictures from your latest event. So, whatever's going on in the life of your church, make sure you snap some photos. Have some things, encourage people, even when they come into like a worship gathering, for example, they can snap a photo and they can check in on Facebook, or they can snap a photo and tag where they are location-wise on Instagram, and have your church tagged in it, and just a cool thing. So even the worship band is up there, playing worship. Someone snaps a photo of that and checks in and posts that photo. That's huge, right? So those very, very simple things. Announcements. So again, things going on in the life of your church, things that are coming up. So a lot of churches right now, they're collecting food. They're doing food drives because they're providing food for families for Thanksgiving. So you can put those announcements on there. You can say, hey, don't forget to bring in your canned goods for our Thanksgiving food box drive, or whatever it might be. Or you can even give updates. Announcement updates. So, hey, we've already, had, 28 turkeys donated for, don't forget to donate your turkey, so you can keep things kind of moving. And that's the cool thing about social media, is it's kind of fresh. It's relevant. It's timely, right? So you can just kind of toss things out there on a regular basis that just kind of keeps people, again, engaged, understanding who you are as a church, what you're doing as a church, what your values are. And then scripture, quote, and graphics. Scripture, graphics, huge. Quotes, inspirational quotes, huge. These happen to be posts that get shared a lot, right? So that's why we always encourage churches to take some time to put up some scripture graphics and some quote graphics, because they have the opportunity. A lot of people not only like them, but they will also share them. And in those, when they share them, it shows up on other people's timelines. They can tag people in them. And so all of those things that Marisa was saying about, back to the algorithm, just great ideas, things for you to keep in mind whenever you are posting things, is you really want to help your people, encourage your people to engage your posts. So as a pastor, what I've done is I have had just kind of a list of people that I know are very active on different social media channels. So people that are very active on Facebook. And so whenever we throw up a post, toss up a post, I would message them and say, hey guys, FYI, we just tossed up a post about this, that's coming up. Would appreciate if you guys would go on, like it, comment, and share it. And so then you can have a team of people who are active on social already. And it's a cool little ministry, actually, because as these people are engaging, as they're sharing them, it's showing up on their friends' timelines as well. So they get to see, so the church's name is showing up. There's something inspiring, something encouraging. It opens up spiritual conversations, lots of fantastic stuff. So really what you want to do is keep things active, get your people engaged, get your people, really consistently posting, commenting rather, sharing, liking your posts, and you'll just see good things come out of that. So some specific ideas for Christmas, because we're talking about the Christmas season. One of the cool things you do is countdowns, right? So everyone likes a countdown to Christmas, especially all of our kids, but everyone likes to think of how many days are left till Christmas. So you can do just a daily post, it just says, hey, 25 days till Christmas or whatever, and in the description, in the text description, you can say, hey, can talk about your Christmas Eve candlelight service or whatever it is that you have going on, and let them know, the information on that, but just have that countdown, that regular countdown, be creative with that. Christmas theme posts, obviously, anything that's going on in your church that's around Christmas that you can post will be awesome. So if you're doing different themes, a lot of you are working through the season of Advent, right? So you're looking at hope, love, joy, and peace as themes of Advent. So man, you can post some really cool things around those. You can do some challenges. So one of the big challenges, we often throw out to our people is, what can you give up during the Christmas season? And then what you would typically spend on that, then contribute to, a local charity or something that your church is championing during the Christmas season. So challenge your people on Facebook to give up Starbucks for a couple weeks and use that money to give to, whatever cause it is that your church is wrapping around. So this is interactive. This is, throwing a challenge out to people. This is, again, letting people know that you value giving back. It lets people know what causes are important to you. It really gives people a snapshot and a picture of who you are as a church. So there are lots of different challenges that you can come up with around that. And really emphasize how your church is giving back through the holiday season. So lots of cool things. And behind the scenes photos are always awesome. So if you have, if your children are doing a Christmas pageant, or if your worship ministry is doing a, Christmas concert of some sort, or if you're doing a, like a big turkey drive or whatever it might be, or you're packing food boxes and going to be delivering them during the Christmas season, whatever that looks like, think of some behind the scenes photos, right? So you can take some photos of your people engaged, active, doing something, and then, talk about what is this about, and just gives people, again, a feel for who you are as a church, which is super huge. And as Marisa said, these don't have to be super polished, high production videos and photos, right? So you can take just a quick video on your iPhone of people, stuffing a box, filling a box with food, that's going out for someone during the Christmas season. You can do that and just have kind of a quick little video. If you're familiar with Instagram, you can do a little boomerang. So people sticking stuff in the box, then it backs up and the stuff's coming out of the box, then it goes back to putting it in the box. Just cool little quick things that are just easy to do. And kind of catchy and catch people's attention. So be looking for those opportunities to really celebrate who your church is, what your church is doing, how they're giving back, the impact you're making on the community, and what's going on for Christmas season, and get your people engaged in those. So awesome. Marisa, I'm going to toss it over to you for tip number 2.
Perfect. So what we're going to kind of be going over, tip number 2 is creating an event. So most of you probably create a Facebook event for your biggest outreach and your biggest events around your church. So I'm going to kind of talk you through the tips of how to create a great Facebook event page. So the Fall Festival page that's right there has a great cover photo, and there's the size of the cover photo, 1920 by 1080. So make sure it's crisp, it looks great, it's inviting, it's not fuzzy. Description is your invite. So I see a lot of churches that I work with put come to Christmas, come to Fall Festival. So it needs to be inviting, open, talk about, they want to hear what's there to do for their kids especially. So you want to be able to put what kind of activities you guys have going on, what's all going to be going on with the event. So that's kind of like your marketing language towards, hey, this is what's going on at an event. Come to our event. It's a welcoming message. So Facebook events, this is kind of a newer thing. They have keywords now. So you can do kid-friendly and Christmas. Unfortunately, Facebook does not let you use church or ministry or anything like that. But kid-friendly and Christmas are 2 that you can use. And what that does is if people are looking for events on Facebook, which is actually pretty heavily used now, people can find your church's events, your Christmas services. So, and kid-friendly is a huge search one for all the moms out there looking for something to take their kids to do and somewhere to kind of go, something to kind of do. So I definitely highly recommend that. And then after you create your page, you want to engage your members. You want to tell them, hey, make sure you go share this. Go RSVP, say that have all of them share it to their personal Facebook pages. That's so huge. So what I see is these churches make these great Facebook event pages and they don't share it. They don't have their members share it. Then when outsiders and potential visitors go to that page, they see it looks like 0 people are going or 3 people are going, and that's what turns them away from the page. And you don't want that to be the reason why they turned away when really a lot more people are going. So make sure you have all your members go in and share and RSVP to the page. And also, as you see on the right, Calvary Worship Center here, all Facebook events are posted at the top of your page, upcoming events at the church. So that's the first thing people impression will see if they go to your Facebook page is your upcoming event. So that's extremely important. So for Christmas, make sure event cover photo is Christmas themed. If you're doing a postcard mailing, you can make it match your postcard mailing would be great. And it's okay to have a Facebook event for each of your Christmas events that you're doing, because I know several of you are doing probably 4 to 5 events, and I would make a separate one. I wouldn't do them all. You want to do them separate. So that's kind of the basics of a Facebook event. And now I'm going to kind of go into a little bit more detail on how to boost your event. I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but I'm going to teach you for $5 how to reach more people in your community outside of your church's Facebook walls for your Facebook event. So I'm going to do screenshots step by step on how to do this. So this is after you create your Facebook event, how to do a boost. So again, boosting is just a mini amplification. It's like putting an exclamation point or having a mini megaphone. It's not going to reach all the people in your community for $5 on Facebook ads. Because Facebook ads are complex, confusing, and they are way more confusing than the algorithm, and they're continuing to change daily. But I'm just going to teach you for $5 how to reach a few more people outside of your walls. Even if you reach 20 to 30 people outside of your church's walls and you're in your direct community, that'd be awesome. So I'm going to teach you how to do so, and you can do this on other regular posts as well. But I'm going to teach you how to do this for an event. So if you go to your event, you created your event, and you'll see on your left-hand side, you'll see your event, and you'll click your event, and where that red rectangle is, it says Boost Event. So you'll click there at step 1. And then step 2 is you're going to create what's called the ad creative. This is going to be what people see on your ad, and you see the previews on the right. It's going to say, join us in celebrating, and make sure you talk about, so I would not write one big long paragraph. Paragraph breaks are your friend, and Jason will attest to that. That and bullet lists. Hey, bring your friends and family to enjoy worship service and music, Christmas cookies and coffee, some kids activities. For fall harvest, people are doing, hay rides, things like that. To put something that's inviting for get people to come to your event, because this is what they're going to see. Then you'd upload an image if you don't want to use your event header, but your event header should be fine. I recommend using that. So you're going to do that part. And then step 3 is you're going to create a new audience. So you'll see that first red rectangle on step 3 is create a new audience. You'll click that. But before that, you could also pick your budget. So you could do $5 and you want it to run for 1 day or 7 days. I don't recommend doing $5 for 14 days because your ad's going to get hardly shown anybody. I would do 1 day would be my recommendation. But so let's go to the click. If we click create your audience on step 4, then you will see you name your audience, and you can pick if you want to target men, women, or both, what age demographics you want to do. And in this locations part, you'll see right above the map, you can put in zip codes surrounding your church. So by outreach, we have 80904, 80919, 80919. So I put in those zip codes, and it's going to say there's 21,000 people from ages 22 to 65 that are in those 2 zip codes that Facebook can reach. You're not going to reach all 22,000 of those people again. Facebook's only going to show you a portion, and not too many for $5, but still more than outside your church. And Facebook will know to show this to people that aren't already liked your Facebook page. You can exclude them. So again, you'll set your budget. You'll go, once you create your audience and you click save, you set your budget and all of that stuff. And Facebook for $5 won't give you an estimated reach for the most part, but you'll probably reach, depending on your area demographic, if you live like in Chicago or big urban cities versus a really small town, it's going to vary. But for somewhere like Colorado Springs, that ad would probably reach me maybe 150, 200 people, maybe. Depending on who I'm competing with ads. So that's kind of how you boost up your event posts. Really simple, high level, but for $5 you can do that. I mean, just to even start to reach people outside of your Facebook walls and on social media walls. And just quick low-hanging fruit, test it out with Facebook and see how that works.
Marisa, real quick, just kind of a pro tip on creating your audience. One of the things that you can do as a church is whenever Marisa was showing, there's kind of that map there at the bottom. You can see that, and you can pick some zip codes. You definitely probably want to reach people right around your church itself, right? So you want to pick those zip codes, but then you might have some pockets here and there where several families that attend your church and are active in your church might live in another zip code, right? And so that may not be a zip code right next to your church, but it might be a zip code, to the north or in another direction. And so if you have a lot of active families in a particular zip code, it's cool to choose that exact zip code, because then you have people who are around other people in your church, so they might already be friends on Facebook, and so you can have some of this overlapping, some overlapping invite and in ways to get some promotion out of that. So just kind of a pro tip, you might want to think about if there are certain zip codes that a lot of families in your church, active families in your church live in, those might be some zip codes that you want to target as well. So awesome stuff.
Great. So now we're going to jump into tip number 3. So you're going to catch attention quick. So again, the Facebook algorithm, the name of the game. If you only posting during your major outreach seasons and your major events, problem is you've been dormant for a couple months and Facebook's not going to show your post. So, hey, I got to start posting about Christmas. If you just start posting about Christmas, December 1st, December 4th, December 5th, December 20th, whatever, Facebook's going to be like, you haven't posted in a month. I'm not showing, your reach is going to be so low. So what you want to do is you want to kickstart that now and start posting, start building engagement. So then when you do start posting about Christmas in a few weeks here, then you're already going to have an engaged audience. You're going to already have a higher reach because Facebook knows, the algorithm knows that you've been consistent, you've been posting frequently, and you're starting to build some engagement. But you can't wait till those seasons. Social media is nonstop all the time type of effort. Again, it's a relationship. You have to spend the time, the effort, and we're going to give you some tools and tips and resources so you're not spending all your time there, because we know all of you wear 1,000 hats and then some. So we're going to teach you how to kind of alleviate spending all of your time on social media. So catch attention quick. So we want to get our engagement and our reach up before Christmas. So how do we do that? Video always wins. Facebook loves video. You don't have a videographer like most churches that we work with, 250 members or less. That's okay. We have two resources that you guys could use. So a lot of people use Animoto is what it's called. It's like $8 a month, but right now they have a 14-day free trial that's no credit card required. And you can like build these slideshow. Don't have to be tech savvy, don't have to be a videographer, have very much tech experience. You literally can pull pictures in, and they have templates already created on Christmas, and they have music, and you can just put in some pictures and create a mini slideshow that turns into a video, and you can add some iPhone video clips in there, make it a minute or less, spend 30 minutes on creating a video that you're going to use on Facebook and Instagram. You can try it out with that 14-day free trial. I really like Animoto. And then we also have Sermon Central has some great video resources, especially for around Christmas. Most of you are probably familiar with them, but if you are not, definitely reach out to us and we'll get you connected. SermonCentral.com. They have some great resources for pastors for especially around Christmas and with social media. On the right there, you see, so this is a newer change to the Facebook newsfeed. When it's video and you click on a video, you start watching it, you're like, when you keep scrolling, it stays with you now. It doesn't stop and go away and go away with the scroll. It stays with you now, so you're seeing it. So that's huge of what you want people to have a video on your page. So if people start watching it and then they start scrolling, they can still be watching your video. And again, it doesn't have to be a professional produced video. I have some churches that do like a pastor minute, a weekly pastor minute, and it's about their message of the week or their tough learning of the week, their tough love learning of the week, which is great. People love to see the heart of your church, and that's what social media is for, is to see the heart and the people behind the church. They don't need to have a professional video. And if you do have a professional video, great, but it doesn't all have to be that. And again, remember, Facebook loves Facebook. If you have YouTube videos for your church and you're sharing them, that video is not going to be shown as much as if you upload from Facebook. They love Facebook. They don't love YouTube. So upload a video right from your iPhone with a quick invite about your Christmas services. Test it out. Facebook Live is always great, but I recommend doing some of these other video, organic, not live upload videos first. Before Facebook Live, because if you do a Facebook Live right now, after you haven't posted for 2 weeks and you hardly have any engagement or reach, Facebook's going to show your Facebook Live to like 4 people. And so you want to reach more people. So first start with these small baby steps first. And again, those high engagement shareable posts, the quote graphics do phenomenal, scripture posts, those type of things. And we have some resources for you on there.
Marisa, I'm going to jump in real quick because I think the point that you just made is important, because we get questions all the time about Facebook Live, which Facebook Live is a great tool. But what Marisa was explaining is if you have not been doing Facebook Live for a long time, or you haven't been doing a lot of posting, or you haven't been posting a lot of videos, then for you to jump straight into Facebook Live, you really don't have an audience built around that, so not many people will see it. So what Marisa was saying is create some additional videos, create some videos, or use some videos that are available to you. And, like she said, you can just jump on your iPhone. You can just interview someone, who's come out of your worship gathering, and just ask them, "Hey, what did you get out of the pastor's sermon today?" Hopefully, they have a good answer, and you can just video that and upload that. So you want to upload some of these videos that aren't necessarily Facebook Live videos first, to start building a little bit of an audience and some engagement, so that when you do your Facebook Live videos, you're going to get a lot more views on that. So that's kind of an important tip. We get a lot of questions about that. So that's just a great tip from you, Marisa. Thanks.
Yeah, and also I want to touch back on the post that we showed earlier. They're screenshots from Thrive Church. They're in Michigan. They're in a small town in Michigan. They are not a big church whatsoever, and they have a very small staff. But if you go to their social media, whether they're Facebook or their Instagram, they look like they're a big church because how often they're posting, they recognize their volunteers, and people love that. They just on their Instagram, they get 25 to 45 likes on average per post. And this is a church of 250 or less. So people are engaging with them. People like what they're posting. They are, they kind of listen to what their people want. And that's something that's really key. And they're really engaged with social media. They write you back. So that's something that if you want to look them up, it's Thrive Church MI on Instagram. They have great examples of how to use social media for a small church. So now we're going to go to and catch attention quickly on Instagram. And best thing I recommend is most of you probably are newer to Instagram or don't have an Instagram or debating about getting one. Do an Instagram story. First time you do an Instagram story is most of the people who follow you on Instagram are going to get an alert. They're going to say, hey, New Life Church has posted their first story, and they can go click to see it. For Instagram story, I recommend doing behind the scenes. You're at the top. You're at the top of the feed for Instagram. They'll see you. Your posts behind the scenes, like Jason talked about earlier, setting up your Christmas services or your next upcoming event. Instagram story has these cool polls, yes or no, A or B type polls. So you can ask a question. Hey, would you rather have coffee or croissants? At this Sunday service, you can pick coffee and croissants. They're really easy. You do them in your Instagram story, and then when the users click yes or no or cookies or croissants, it'll show the percentage of the poll to them of who else has voted. It makes them feel engaged. It's something for them to do. It feels like they have a say in your church. So those I've seen have been really successful for churches and really cool. And everyone loves a boomerang. So as Jason talked about earlier, for those of you who don't know what boomerang is, it's also built into Facebook. It's like the infinity sign. It's like a quick video of showing you doing something and doing it backwards, forward and backward repetitively. Who knew? Whoever made that made a fortune because who knew that was going to be so popular. But it's used by everyone now. It's really cool, really easy. Do it from your iPhone, but quick, catches attention. And when you're in the Instagram newsfeed, it definitely catches your eye because you see the quick movement. So I definitely recommend doing that. Trying that out. Again, it's built into your Instagram app. And Instagram is a great way to engage your younger members and audience. Millennials and younger live on Instagram. They love Instagram. It's a great way to kind of engage them and have them get involved with your Instagram. And you can even ask some of them what they'd like to see on Instagram and what would they think would be some great tips for you. And now, Jason, I'm going to be talking about some Christmas catching attention quick. So Christmas, I would do an invitational video with iPhone, Animoto, Sermon Central, whatever tool you decide to use for both Facebook and Instagram. You don't need to do 2 different videos for both. You don't have to, but make sure it formats correctly on both. Really quick, simple, easy, make it just very invitational, very welcoming, very warm. What's going on at the Christmas service, what times, obviously the basics. Doing an Instagram story behind the scenes of your upcoming Christmas event would work great in the theme. Do kind of like teasers. Hey, something's coming big at the Christmas event. Not tell them what it is, have them guess. Do polls about things that they want around the next Advent service. Things like that would be my best advice for Christmas. You ready, Jason?
Awesome. Good stuff, Marisa. Tip number 4, Digital Missionaries Challenge. This is one of the things that if you've ever been on a webinar with us before, this is huge for us, this whole idea of digital missionaries, because really this is the way that you as a church get your people who already consider your church their church home to really engage in your social media and really become digital missionaries. Because I cannot tell you how many stories personally that I have encountered over the years on social and that we've heard from people at churches where spiritual conversations open up whenever people are engaged in sharing and posting on social media. So as your people are sharing your posts, they have the opportunity to engage in conversations with people that they know who don't attend your church. So what you really want to do is encourage your people to become digital missionaries. Again, we've said this a million different times, but Facebook loves Facebook. And so one of the things they really love, and one of the things that the Facebook algorithm rewards, Marisa mentioned this earlier, but it's when people tag people in comments. And so you'll see an example here of Marisa's Christmas Test, this event that we put together. I noticed down there Marisa tagged Riley, Ray tagged Marisa, said how awesome it is, Kate tagged Carrie. So whenever you tag someone's name in the comments of a post, whether it's an event post or any other post, Facebook absolutely loves that. And that's why you'll see some of these crazy viral posts go just nuts, because people are tagging, and my kids do it all the time. If they see something, they tag me in it if they want me to, go and watch it. If they come across a video or something that reminds them of something, about our family, they'll tag me in it, and they'll tag my wife in it and want us to go watch it. And that's huge. So you can encourage your people. This is kind of a cool challenge to put out to people of your church in regard to what you're doing for Christmas. And you can do this all the time, but what you're doing for Christmas, we're focusing on that. So encourage them. Make sure that you've set up an event for whatever it is you want to invite people to. So if you're doing a Christmas Eve, candlelight worship gathering, or if you're doing, some sort of family event around Christmas, whatever it is, set up that event and then challenge your people to go to that event post, which will be on your church's Facebook page, and invite someone who is outside of the church. And they can do this in a number of different ways. One, they can directly share that, click that post, share it with a friend of theirs. They can tag, like we said, their friends' names in the comments. And so this will show up and it will get more exposure for your church and for that event. And it's just kind of a fun way to get your people engaged and involved. And like I said earlier, what I've done as a pastor is I get a team of people in my church who are active on the different social channels, and I kind of enlist them as digital missionaries. And I explain to them, I say, hey, listen, we could get the word out more. We can gain more exposure for our church and event. We can reach more people in the community if you guys are willing to kind of jump on board. And everyone says yes. I've never had someone say, no, I don't want to like, comment, share, or tag people, in in the church's post. So this gives your younger audience, a challenge that they will take on, that they'll do well with. They can excite them. So you can get this really engaged, in your student ministries, young adult ministries, all the way across the board. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do. And it's has big impact, right? Because it's getting your people involved, your people engaged, which is always important. It's helping them connect with people that are outside of your church. It's gaining more exposure for your event. So lots of things are going on, and it's just continuing to build your audience for everything else that you post in the future, which is huge, right? So you want to do this challenge on your event post with the people of your church, encourage them to jump in and to really make something happen there. So Digital Missionaries Challenge, fun thing to do, get some people involved, get them engaged, and see how many people you're able to reach. Awesome stuff. Tip number 5, event hashtag. So you want to create an event hashtag. I know we've had some questions. Some people popped in with some questions I saw about hashtags. And you want to be unique in your hashtag, and you don't want to just have hashtag Christmas, because there are millions and millions of Christmas posts, hashtag posts on Instagram for Christmas. So you really want to be unique. So for example, NL Christmas for New Life Christmas, or something unique, so that will kind of get out there. One thing you can do on Instagram, and I do this a lot with my posts, is that you use some unique posts or unique hashtags, because you can use multiple hashtags. So you can use some very unique hashtags. You can use some hashtags that are a little more general or generic. So if someone's searching for something general, but it might be like Christmas and the name of your town, right? So if someone's looking for, Colorado Springs Christmas, they search that, it can pop up there. So you can do a mixture of hashtags, and these build awareness, build excitement, they get your members involved. So what you want to do is you want to tell your people, hey, for this event, if you're going to post anything about this event, so let's say you're having a Christmas family event, right? You're doing something cool and you have people there. You want to let them know what the event hashtag is and say, hey, listen, if you're posting on social, please use this hashtag. And so then that just creates more buzz, more excitement, more awareness. So you want everyone to be using whatever hashtag it is you decide upon. So you have a specific event hashtag, and then you can have some additional hashtags that you can use when you post, make a post on Instagram around what you're doing. So just another tip to keep in mind. All right, a quick recap of the 5 tips. Get active, get people engaged, get things posting regularly. You want to get the activity on your social feeds up so that you have opportunity to reach a greater audience, because again, all social networks reward consistent, frequent posting. So you want to get active. The second thing we said is create a Facebook event for your Christmas events. Whatever it is you're doing over the holidays, create a Facebook event for that. Third thing, catch attention quick. You can use videos. You can keep this really low key. You can keep it simple. You can use videos that are already produced, or you can make quick videos on your iPhone. But try to catch people's attention quick as they're scrolling through a feed. If you've ever sat there and scrolled through a feed, you want something that people are going to pause and take a peek at, right? The fourth thing was the Digital Missionaries Challenge. You want to enlist your people, recruit your people, have them engaged and involved in getting the word out and sharing and tagging people in liking your posts. And then the fifth thing is, don't forget an event hashtag, which is important for whatever event it might be. Encourage people to use that event hashtag. And then you can use hashtags as well in other ways. So 5 quick tips that will help you maximize social media for Christmas this year. Great stuff.
Awesome. And I see we have a few questions, and I'll go over some of them live. But first, I'm going to talk to you guys about a gift to you guys that we have going on right now at Outreach. Social Reach Daily, for those of you who haven't heard of it, are social media graphics, Facebook posts that are posted directly to your church's Facebook page. We don't need admin access to your page or anything. It's a simple API access. We post to your page every single day, and we're going to have some Christmas and Advent posts in there as well now. So Advent, there'll be separate categories. You have categories of scriptural posts, inspirational posts. Every Friday you have the option if you want to do, hey, see you at church this weekend. So that's free from now until Christmas. Use that code CMAS17, and the website is socialreachdaily.com. Again, free from now until Christmas, to help with your social media outreach and kind of help you with some of those things Jason and I were talking about that are shareable, high engagement. We've seen some great success with these. Some of the ones you saw earlier, screenshots in this webinar with the high engagement posts are Social Reach Daily posts on small churches' pages. So they are very successful. They work very well, very easy, something you can take off your plate. You don't have a designer. You don't want to go hunt down content every day. You don't know how to make these, or you don't know where to find them. This is a great tool to use that a lot of churches have taken advantage of, and you can kind of customize per different categories of content, and that's continuing to grow. And here's an example of some of our Christmas posts. So again, socialreachdaily.com, code is CMAS17, free from now until Christmas. So we're going to hop into some Q&A.
Awesome. Real quickly, Marisa, I just want to say something about Social Reach Daily. You guys know who've been on webinars with us in the past, we love giving things away to pastors and blessing pastors. And this is just a cool way, as Marisa said, to kind of jumpstart your Facebook engagement, to have consistent posts on a daily basis that are likable, shareable, and encourage your people, again, to share these. I mean, these are gorgeous. Our designers are amazing. They put these together for you. And these are definitely posts that are shareable. And so encourage people to share them, see what God does in opening up spiritual conversations as these show up in their friends' Facebook feeds and their timelines and all those fun things. So great thing, jump on there, socialreachdaily.com, use that code. This is absolutely free to you guys because we love you, we appreciate you, and we just want to bless you. So cool stuff. Now we've had tons of questions coming in. A lot of them have been answered directly by our team, but we have a handful here. They're still available that we want to touch on live. So one question that came up is this. It says, what engagement-driven posts do you recommend publishing when you have an audience that does not engage with posts? They say, we've tried questions, fun photos, and still no bites. So I think the biggest recommendation I would give to you is, well, one thing is you can use the free Christmas ones we have available for you. So that's cool. But in using those, really take into account what I said about going directly to a team of people that are active on social and saying, hey, as your pastor, we'd love for you to be digital missionaries. We'd love for you to help get this, and explain to them the value. Explain to them that, listen, the more that these are shared, the more people that are reached. And this has the opportunity not only to gain exposure for our church and our ministries, but to open up spiritual conversations. Because again, I cannot tell you how many conversations I have had with people I played soccer with in high school, or people that I knew from years ago, and we are connected on Facebook, but we live in different states. We haven't seen each other for years, and I get a message from one of them about something that I've shared or something that I've posted. And so it's one of those things where really, if you take the time to help cultivate this group of digital missionaries and help them begin to raise the engagement level with those posts, you know what I mean? So you're building that foundation initially by getting 12, 20, 40, however many people it makes sense, and getting them engaged on a regular basis. This is a great ministry opportunity for people that may not want to go serve in the nursery, but guess what? They will be digital missionaries on social media. And so you want to think of it in that way. It's just a ministry opportunity, a way to engage more people. And so once you get people more engaged, then your posts are going to be rewarded by the social networks. They'll start to show up more regularly in other people's feeds, and you'll just see your engagement continue to grow. So that would be my recommendation. If you're having trouble getting a lot of engagement on your posts, you need to jumpstart it with a team who's going to come and start getting that engagement going. But I love the fact that you've tried different posts, you've done questions, fun photos. Always remember that I think it's best to think of the culture of your church and who you are, and try to post things that relate to who you are as a church, right?
To touch on that, Jason, I think that's a great point. And what's kind of unique about Social Reach Daily, which we've got great feedback, we have a huge variety of churches that are on there. And since you can pick the kind of categories you'd like, you can pick kind of tailor to what your church's flavor is and your church's culture a little bit more. Also, so the next question I saw should we use hashtags on Facebook? So normally I don't recommend using hashtags on Facebook, but I think for your event, so your NL Christmas hashtag, yes, I would do that because it will show up, it will be prevalent. But how you do on Instagram, no, I do not recommend doing hashtags on Facebook like you do on Insta.
Yes, and with that, Marisa, if you have people who are participating or attending your event and they're taking photos and they're posting them on Facebook, as people typically do, you want them, as Marisa said, using that event hashtag. So yep. Great point.
Yep. And then are there better times to share posts, midday, evening, or morning? So that is totally different per each church and each business page. Everyone's different. So how you find that out is if you go to your church's Facebook page, there'll be a top nav menu that says Insights. You'll go there, and in that kind of analytics insights there'll be times to post, and you'll see on the left nav, you'll see posts, and it'll say times people are on and engaging with your content. And that's when I recommend doing posts. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out, but it's pretty straightforward. Go to Insights, top nav of your church's Facebook page, and you'll see in the left menu is posts, and it'll be in that tab, that information.
And on that, Marisa, you need to have like if you don't have a lot of engagement going on right now and you click on that insights button, they won't have any insights for you, right? That makes sense. So that's one of those things that's kind of like you got to get it going a little bit to really get a feel. But, be posting consistently. And as you're doing that, you have the opportunity to go back and begin looking at those insights. And you'll start to get a feel for when your audience, the people you're reaching, are most active on Facebook. And like Marisa said, that's different. We have churches that we work with that Are people really active, you know, in the evenings? Other churches, are people really active in the mornings? So it's really dependent upon your unique audience. So that's one of those things where you just want to post at different times throughout the day. You want to post consistently. Then you want to go back after, you know, a couple few weeks that you've done that and get a feel for, you know, how your audience is responding.
Yep. And Nicole, is that a good name to use for ministry? Digital ministry? Are there other names could you suggest? I'm wondering if you're talking about the digital missionaries. We just call them that here. If you'd like to use that name, feel free. We usually say social media outreach. If you're talking about digital media, digital ministry, we talk about your social media outreach and kind of what you're doing around that space. But digital missionaries, we kind of use it, and it's kind of stuck because we want to use some of those younger demographics and use the people who are really engaged on social media to help your church. They're going to help do your social media outreach for you. They're going to be ones liking, commenting, sharing. But we want to have them be intentional about it and how to help your church with that.
Yeah, Marisa, and one of the things you say about social media outreach, and the reason we say that is because we want to remind people, a lot of churches have looked at social media as just some place to toss out their announcements, right? So we work with a lot of churches. We go on their Facebook pages, and it's just like an announcement about this, announcement about that, announcement about this, and really, your social channels aren't just for announcements. If that's all you're using them for, then you're really missing out on how to really maximize them. They're really an outreach tool. This is a ministry tool. This is not just a communications tool. Does it communicate? Yes. Can you put your announcements out? Yes. But it is so much more than that. This is a ministry. And so we really view it as ministry. That's why we use terms like digital missionaries, right? That's why we talk about social media outreach, because this is a way to connect with people who are, and this is what I love about social media. You have the opportunity as a church to connect with people who aren't directly connected to your church, but who are directly connected to people who are in your church, right? And that's huge if you think about it, because so many things are relational. You know, some people are like, ooh, social media, you know, let's get to real conversations. Well, guess what? Real conversations happen on social media, and it affords you an opportunity to connect with people and to develop those relationships. So you want to be thinking about connecting with your people and helping your people connect with people that your church isn't directly connected with, right? And that's why this is ministry. It's not just communication. It's not just a place to announce your next potluck, or who left dishes behind at the last potluck and come claim them from the church office, right? This is ministry, and we encourage you to use this as an outreach ministry to make an impact to reach people for the cause of Christ.
Yep, and Ed Stetzer had a great article in Christianity Today about social media and how a lot of churches sometimes are hesitant about going on social media, and how he talks about that this is now the four squares, this is the town hall to preach at. It's where you can reach the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time. And that's what you want to think about when you're posting to any of your social media. It's not just the people in your church walls, it's to the entire community, and how many people you could be reaching and affecting with your voice.
Awesome. Well, we want to respect your time, and so we're going to wrap up this webinar now. If we didn't get to your question, we will reach out and follow up with you. Thank you so much for the kind comments about the webinar. I hope that you've found value in it, and if you have any additional questions, please let us know, and we'd be happy to reach out to you and to help you with anything that you might be sorting through. Don't forget to take advantage of that free gift we're blessing churches with right now, socialreachdaily.com. You can use the promo code CMAS17. And again, be looking for the link to the replay of this webinar, which will be coming to you. You can share that with your staff and your ministry leaders. And if there's something you missed, we know we did cover a lot. And that's one of the things that as we're putting together these webinars, we're always kind of working through, like, we don't want to, toss out way too much information, but we want to make sure we get enough value, because there's so many people in so many different places as far as working with social media. There's some people who are just dipping their toes into the water. There's some people who've been doing it for years. So we try to make value for everybody. But again, thank you for taking your time. Pastors, we love you. We appreciate you. We're praying for your churches for Christmas. And if there's any way we can help, please reach out to us. God bless you and thank you.